Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another watch list. Basically, think of this as a monthly TV guide for me to let you know what and when TV shows that I'm interested in that maybe you're interested in are coming out. Like always, in the description down below, I'll include links to any trailers that might be available to anything that I bring up during this watch list. First up, on February 2nd on Prime Video, we had the Mr. and Mrs. Smith TV show, which I'm very, very excited about. I'm someone who really likes the Mr. and Mrs. Smith movie, but I haven't seen it in a very long time. And based on just a teaser trailer, there is an official trailer out, but I haven't watched it. But from the teaser trailer, it seemed like they were approaching some elements of the Mr. and Mrs. Smith relationship and dynamic from a different perspective. But I mean, just from what I saw in the teaser alone, I really like it. It's Donald Glover and Maya Erskine, so I'm like, I really like what we got in the teaser. Like I said, I haven't seen the trailer, but the official trailer, but I like the movie and I like these two and what I've seen in the teaser, so I'm really excited to see all that this show has to offer and see, you know, if it's as different from the movie as I think it will be, but we'll see. On February 11th on CBS, there is a new series called Tracker. Basically, it's kind of, I'm about to say bounty hunter, but it's like this guy who hired to track down people, and he kind of skirts around that, covers that gray line, you know, because he's not like official law enforcement or anything. It seems like this is just kind of his thing. He's almost probably a borderline. He kind of almost works in that same vein as like a PI, but he specifically is trained to track people. It's got Justin Hartley in it. Just from what I saw from the trailer, it seems pretty interesting. So I'm excited to see, you know, is it going to be entirely episodical, or will there be certain like overarching stories? It probably will be, but it'll probably be a lot of episodical stuff. But I mean, it just seemed really interesting, kind of something on that more probably borderline crime drama, but probably more just drama side of things. But it seemed interesting, so I'm excited to check it out. On February 14th on Sci-Fi, we have season 3 of Resident Alien, which I'm so excited to see. I have not seen the trailer. I kind of made an active decision not to watch the trailer, so I'm going to go into this season knowing as little as possible. But considering where season 2 left off, where Harry and the General are having to join forces, obviously we're dealing with the Greys and their invasion. And obviously we're probably going to probably seeing a lot more of their presence this season, because obviously they popped in here and there throughout season 2, but it will probably get a lot more of them this season. I also know that this season will not be nearly as long as last season, because last season was basically kind of 2 seasons put in one, because it was like 2 8-part season, 2 8-episode seasons, and so this season I think it's only 8 episodes. But whatever the case may be, more Resident Alien. I'm so excited to see what this season has in store for us. On February 18th on CBS, we have season 4 of The Equalizer. So excited to have The Equalizer back. I actually haven't even checked to see if there actually is a trailer out for this. You know, like I said, if there is one, it's going to be in the description down below, but I'm not going to watch it. I want to go into the season knowing as little as possible. Obviously, the cliffhanger we were left on in season 3, where some of Robin's past has come back to haunt her, as it kind of has time and time again over the course of the show, but she's in a very, very unfavorable situation, and how she finds a way out of this compromising situation is going to be interesting. I'm sure it's going to be something resolved pretty early on, probably in the first episode, but I'm curious to see if that ends up being a larger theme throughout. Is it going to be the overarching thing she deals with this season? If not that, what else? And what this circumstance means for her when it comes to the people in her life, feeling like she's failed to protect them and she isn't always there, especially when it's trouble from her past coming back to haunt not only her but the people in her life. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the season starts off, but especially to see how it all plays out. On February 22nd on the Netflix, we have the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I'm very, very excited about. I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I've not rewatched the show in a very long time. I think I've seen it all the way through for the most part. I'm sure I probably missed some episodes here and there, but for the most part I've seen most of the show, you know, like years ago when it was originally airing on Nickelodeon, but I have not seen it since. So this is going to be kind of my first pseudo rewatch in a lot of ways, but this is another thing where I avoided watching the main trailer. I have seen the teaser trailer, but it looks really dope. I'm excited to dive back into the world of Avatar, because it's been a very long time for me. So I should also use this as an opportunity, like, to potentially rewatch the animated series, because I also need to rewatch Korra, because I've only ever saw maybe the first season. I never saw season, I think 2, 3, and 4, of course. So it'd be kind of a nice excuse to kind of be back in that world, familiarize myself with it before jumping back into core. But either way, I'm very excited. From what I've seen of the teaser trailer and stuff, it looks dope. The casting looks dope, and I'm excited to see what they do with this live action. On February 25th on AMC, we have The Walking Dead: Those Who Live. This is a mini series that's following Rick and Michonne. Obviously, this is kind of teed up at the end of The Walking Dead, which I finally finished like a month or two back after like not finishing it for over like a year or whatever. But whatever the case may be, I still need to catch up on Walking Dead lore in general. I need to finish Fear the Walking Dead. I need to watch the Daryl spinoff as well as the Negan and Maggie spinoff. Jeez, I was blinking on Maggie's name there for a second. But other than that, I'm excited to see what happens. I've seen like I said, the little teasers here and there, but nothing like substantial. I've avoided the trailers because I want to kind of go into this series knowing as little as possible. They were originally planned to be like 3 Walking Dead movies following Rick and Michonne, but now it's going to be a TV show miniseries. You kind of get basically those 6 episodes are representative of those 3 movies we could have gotten. So either way, I'm excited to see what happens with Rick and Michonne's story and see how this all plays out. Like I said, it is a miniseries, so it's going to be a one and done. So it's going to be interesting to see also the scale and scope of it. Will we catch up on a little bit about everything Rick's been through since the last time we saw him, which was at like episode 5 of season 9. So obviously it's been a couple years because all the time skipping. On February 27th on, I don't know if this is actually on Hulu or if this is FX, because it's the FX Hulu thing, so I don't know if it's like, oh, it's going to start on FX and then it's going to be on Hulu, or because you know some of those FX Hulu things are just straight up on Hulu to begin with. Whatever the case may be, we have this new limited series called Shogun. Now I don't really, even watching the trailers, I'm not fully sure about the grand story of it, but it seems to be, it's set in feudal Japan. It seems like this very specific shogun is trying to hold on to his power, and I think it's specifically like the 1600s, and I think it's about dealing with a lot of the inner turmoil or the changing of things in Japan, while also avoiding influence and as well as dealing with influence outside of Japan's borders of like the Western world, finding a way. Because we see like a European guy here, I think he's European, in Japan, and so I don't know, it seems interesting. Like, if you don't know, I think historically speaking, feudal Japan's a very interesting point in history, and I've been obsessed with samurai since I was a kid, so it's like doubly so in that. But I think it's like, if you've seen the show Blue Eye Samurai, I think some of the themes and elements of that will probably pop up in the show. They don't take place exactly around the same time, but it's in the general era, so I think some of those elements and themes will probably pop up in the show. But it just seemed really interesting. I know it's based on a novel. This is actually a second adaptation because it was adapted into like a TV movie series or something back in the 80s, so this is like actually a second adaptation. But either way, once again, I don't know enough about the core of everything. I could look it up, but I'm fine taking what I think I know what the show's about and then applying and then figuring out like, oh, was I slightly close or was it completely off the mark? But like I said, just from the trailers alone, it seems really interesting, and I like the setting and time period. On February 28th on Disney Plus, we have this new animated series. I just looked it up. I think it's a mini series called Iwaju. I don't know enough about it. I was looking it up. There is no actual trailer at the time of me recording this. It is the 29th, I believe, at the time of me recording this, so of January. So there hasn't been a trailer release, but the general thing I picked up was basically it's taking place, I believe, in an African country, and it is basically this science fictional story, like this boy and this girl as they kind of like bond over like tech and stuff, but and how it influences in their different worlds. I think I remember reading that this is kind of like a social class situation of 2 different people from 2 different worlds, as in 2 different social classes, and their interactions. And I think, like I said, I think the tech is kind of the overarching theme. Like I said, I don't know enough about it. This is something I read a little while back, and I'm trying not to read too much on like the plot and synopsis because I want to be surprised. But like I said, it seemed interesting to a little bit I was reading, and I looked at the art style. I think it's computer generated animation, but it looks really nice, and I'm curious to watch it and kind of really find out, you know, what the series is really all about, especially if it's a mini series, because it's going to be a one and done. And then finally, on February 29th on CBS, we have this new series, Elsbeth. Essentially, this woman is From what I got from the trailer, she was a former defense attorney, now kind of, I don't know, PI. She's kind of working with the cops, kind of a consultant to some extent, but there's this whole conversation of, well, you're supposed to be shadowing the cops, but now the cops are following you. She seems like she's kind of a quirky person. Yeah, I'm a fan of, like, you know, procedural crime dramas that have that oh yeah, like you're an investigator, you solve things, you're not really with the police, but you're kind of a consultant, you know, in the same vein as like a mentalist or psych or something like that. I love stuff like that, and so I'm excited. Like I said, I know a little bit because I've seen the trailer, but even that doesn't give you, because I'm sure, like, looking at a trailer, it feels like that's all from the first episode, so really getting to know what it's all about will probably take a couple episodes in, but I'm excited. It seems really interesting and fun from what we saw, so I'm excited to find out more about this character and about this story. Also, the lead, the actress's name is Carrie Preston. I recognized her from True Blood, but I didn't know the actress's name. It's been so long that I actually forgotten the character's name. The character's name was Arlene in True Blood, but when you see her, you're like, oh, especially because another face from True Blood pops up. Like I said, I think that's only going to be for the first episode. That's typically how some of these trailers are kind of cut together from. But either way, like I said, it just seemed interesting. I'm excited to check it out. And so that brings this month's watch list to an end. Like always, if there's something that's coming out that maybe I wasn't aware of, that you're aware of, that's coming out, don't be afraid to leave it in the comments down below. I think I talked about this last time too. Once again, I'm recording these like a couple days before the end of the month. It's like, you know, this is going to go up on the 31st. So some stuff is going to be announced like a week or two into February, because that always happens. So there's probably going to be stuff that pops up that I wasn't aware of, that was, you know, I had no idea was coming out. So like I said, always hit me up to let me know in the comments of this watch list, hey, there's something else coming out this month that you might be interested in. So yeah, really, that's all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.